everyone.
Hi.
This is Sean from Courage Box. We're here to talk about our April box, which is on mindfulness and self-regulation. So this month I'm here with Chandra, Decae. She is another counselor in Saskatoon, actually friends with Stephanie. So do you want to talk a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, for sure. So I am a recent graduate of the Masters of Education in School and Counseling Psychology program. So that's how I met Stephanie, the person you consulted on with the last video. Right now I'm on maternity leave, but when I'm at work, I work with youth in the Youth Exposed to Violence program through Family Service Saskatoon. And one of the tools that I really like to use in my counseling practice is mindfulness.
Yeah. So do you want to talk a little bit about what mindfulness is?
Sure. So mindfulness in its simplest form is learning how to pay attention on purpose to the present moment with non-judgment. It's also learning to respond to reality instead of react to it, and learning that you can choose your reactions, choose your responses to your experiences and to your emotions. And so when I say it's learning to be in the present moment with non-judgment, what that means is learning how to, say if you're feeling anxious, you can look at the moment and look at your experience and say, I'm feeling anxious right now. I'm feeling this tightness in my stomach, feeling my heartbeat, rather than, say, if you don't know mindfulness, you might look at that and think, oh my God, why is this happening to me? This is so silly. I'm feeling anxious. That would be looking at it with judgment. But learning just to notice and observe your experiences.
Yeah, observing versus judging.
Yes. Yes.
Awesome. So this box includes a variety of tools to kind of help you practice mindfulness in a couple different ways. One of the things that we're including is kind of do-it-yourself little project to make a glitter jar. So you want to talk a little bit about glitter jars, what they are, and how you can use them?
Definitely. So glitter jars are a mindfulness tool that helps you learn how to meditate and how to bring a sense of calm to yourself using a tool, using a visualization. And so say, for example, if you were feeling really stressed out or if you were feeling really anxious, if you picture the glitter jar and you picture it shaken up, and you've got all this glitter floating around in the glitter jar. So imagine that is like your brain when you're anxious or you're stressed. All that glitter is all the chaos, all the thoughts, all that anxiousness going around in your brain. So what you can do is picture the glitter jar and set it down and watch the glitter calmly float to the bottom. And as the glitter is floating to the bottom, you can focus on it calming down. You can use your deep breath as you're watching it and just bringing that sense of focus to your experience, which allows yourself to calm down as the glitter is calming down. And once the glitter has all fallen to the bottom, that glitter that is now calm in the bottom represents your thoughts now calm in your body because you've been able to breathe and you've been able to focus on the glitter calming down.
Yeah. So you can sit there and watch all of the glitter fall to the bottom and just try and stay present and mindful the entire time that the glitter is falling. Yeah.
Definitely.
Awesome. So you kind of mentioned using deep breathing while looking at the glitter jar. Can you talk a little bit about what deep breathing is?
So breath is really important, especially when using mindfulness. But breath is also important because it gives us an idea of what's going on in our mental state, what's going on in our body. So if you're really stressed out or if you're feeling really anxious, you might be breathing really shallow, right? Really short, breathing from your chest. Versus if you're calm and you're relaxed, you might be breathing from your stomach. And so it's important to practice and learn how to breathe deep so that you can learn how to calm your body. And there's an acronym that I've learned. Hi, Kitty.
She likes you.
Yes. There's an acronym that I've learned to learn how to breathe deep. And that's called the ABCDE of breathing. And so the first step is to become aware of your breath. And so it's simply just learning how to observe your breath. What is going on with my breath right now in this experience. Am I breathing deep? Am I breathing shallow? Am I breathing fast, slow, loud, quiet, deep in my belly, shallow, I think I mentioned that. And just observing what's going on. And through mindfulness, like I said before, it's learning how to be present in the moment. So you can use your breath, and when you find yourself breathing a little more shallow, you can think, okay, what situation am I in right now that's making me breathe like this? So it might bring your attention towards this experience might be making me anxious. So that step is becoming aware. The next B and C is breathe calmly. So learning how to then turn your breath into more of a slow, deliberate, calm, deep breath. D is for diaphragm. So learning how to breathe from your diaphragm deep in your belly. And you can do this by placing your hand on your chest or your hand on your belly and learning how to learning where the breath is coming from, and really trying to bring your breath down deep into your belly versus in your chest.
So if you're a singer, you'll know this.
So that will help you be relaxed. And then E is for exhalation. So learning how to exhale just a little bit longer than your inhale, and learning how to exhale slowly. So just to recap, becoming aware, then learning how to breathe calm, breathing from your diaphragm, and focusing on your exhalation. One warning, I guess, when you're thinking of just becoming aware of your breath, is not to try to control it, just to learn why you're breathing that way, or learn about your breath, I guess, in a sense. And then when you get more to that, you've become aware of your breath, you want to control it, then control it that way. Another warning would be to not to hyperventilate. I guess, right? Not to try to control and deep breathe so much so that you're going to pass out because you're not getting enough breath. A few tips that I've read about just to practice deep breathing is one, to practice on a daily basis. And you can do this anywhere, right? You can practice while you're sitting watching TV. You can practice while you're driving. You can also put sticky notes around your house. Just say breathe, just to learn how to breathe. And the more you do it when you're not feeling stressed or anxious, the more it will kick in when you are feeling stressed and anxious.
That's what I've heard as well, is that it's actually important, especially when you're first learning, to do this when you're relaxed, not just to do it when you're anxious. One of my counselors told me that if when I started doing mindfulness and deep breathing and stuff, if I only do that when I'm anxious, then that's going to train my body to connect it with anxiety, right? So it's not necessarily going to calm me down. Yeah, so just make sure that you're practicing it, not just when you're stressed or when you're anxious. Okay, so we're also including bubbles. I love bubbles.
I do too.
Maybe because I'm a child at heart. But bubbles are actually really great to help teach yourself how to do deep breathing. So do you want to talk about how you can use them?
Definitely. So when you're blowing bubbles, if you want to picture blowing bubbles, or use your bubbles right now while you're watching this video, when you're blowing bubbles, you're using that deep breath. And if you can think of, say if you were to try to blow bubbles from a breath from your chest, well, you're not using a huge breath. So you're probably only going to get 1 or 2 bubbles. Whereas if you breathe deep from your diaphragm, you'll then get a lot of bubbles. But then also your exhalation, like I talked about before, learning how to elongate your exhalation. If you were to give a forceful exhalation, you might break your bubbles and you might not get any. Whereas if you were to give a soft exhalation with your bubbles, then you'll get a lot of bubbles. So learning how to breathe how you would blow bubbles is a great way to practice in learning deep breathing.
It's also really fun. It's like an excuse to blow bubbles. You know, somebody comes in, and they're like, "Why are you blowing bubbles? That's for kids." You can be like, "I'm doing mindfulness."
Definitely.
Okay, so we've also included a lot of products in this box that help subscribers to connect with their senses. So we try to include something for each sense, like mints for taste, something to smell. We have like a lavender and chamomile scented sachet, and different things like that to, try and connect with your senses. So can you speak a little bit about how our senses can ground ourselves and how that's helpful for anxiety and depression?
Definitely. So one of the main points of mindfulness is bringing yourself to the present moment. And the reason why that's important is because when you're experiencing anxiety or experiencing depression, a lot of the times you're focusing on your mind. You're ruminating over, so when you have anxiety, you often are ruminating over worries, the past, the present, the future, and just have all these worries going on in your mind. When you have depression, it often looks like sadness and negative thoughts and thoughts of low self-worth, and so you might have all these negative thoughts happening in your mind. And so when you're experiencing those things, your focus is here in your mind. Whereas our senses, so our sight, touch, taste, smell. I'm missing
another
one.
Sight, touch, taste, smell. What are we missing?
Sight, sound.
Sound.
Yes.
Forgot about our ears temporarily.
Yes. Sight, touch, taste, smell, sound.
There it is.
Yes. So when we focus on those, we then focus on the present moment. So what you can do, so grounding yourself also helps you to feel relaxed and helps you to feel calm. So when you focus on your senses, you then bring your focus from your mind to the here and now, which helps to disrupt all that mental chatter that could be going on. And so one really good way to do that, which the tools that you have in the box are great ways because they're tactile things that you can use.
And portable as well.
Yes, definitely. Another good way to use your senses to ground yourself is this 5-4-3-2-1 method. So you can look around your environment and think, what are 5 things that I can see right now? What are 4 things that I can hear? What are 3 things that I can feel? 2 things that I can touch? No, got that one. Smell. Yeah. And 1 thing that I can taste.
Yeah.
And so by going through that, it really brings you into the here and now because you're focusing on things that are around you in the present moment. And it will help then to stop those thoughts, disrupt those thoughts, but also turn your focus away from any emotions that those thoughts could be bringing up and help you focus on the now.
Awesome. We're including a grounding deck that has a variety of different exercises, and the 5-4-3-2-1 exercise is in that grounding deck. Yeah. I think that the one, instead of taste, we actually put one thing that you like about yourself. So that's a variation of the exercise, just in case there's like the only thing that you can taste right now is your own spit, So you can do either. Yeah.
And I often get that when I use that in my counseling practices. I don't know, I can only taste coffee.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. If you have a mint on you, though, it's helpful. You can just, focus on the taste of that. Yeah. Self-regulation, I think, is a bit related to mindfulness, to grounding. So do you want to talk a little bit about what self-regulation is and how it's helpful for anxiety and depression?
So self-regulation in its simplest form is learning how to regulate your emotions, learning how to regulate your behaviors. And so mindfulness helps with it by helping you to realize and become aware of what emotional state are you in this experience. What behaviors are you choosing from this behavior? And then how can you choose different responses to that? It's helpful for anxiety and depression, basically from same thing as what I said about the senses, and that it helps you just to realize you like to bite.
She's so playful. She was playing fetch, actually. I don't know where her toy went. But, yeah.
But yeah, it helps you just to disrupt those thoughts, right? So when you're feeling anxious, like I said, you have all those thoughts of the past, of the future, worries. You might have a racing heart, right? Your breathing might be really, really shallow. So once you learn what's triggering those states, learn how to calm, you can then calm your body, which will also calm the thoughts. Same with depression. You might be having lots of thoughts of low self-worth, feelings of sadness, kind of helplessness, that kind of thing. And so once you learn what triggers those thoughts, what triggers those feelings, you can then learn to respond to them differently. One thing with depression that I want to add about our senses, actually, if I can go back to that one for a second. So with depression, a lot of the times your senses are dulled, right? You might not, things might not taste the same. You might not find that things are as joyful, right? Your senses are just dulled. And so focusing on your senses and focusing on stimulating your senses can help with depression as well. And one way to do that is to really focus on the joys of your senses. And so when somebody is in a state of depression, they might be more inclined to look at more negative things. Or not look at, but just their filter might just let in more things that are negative. So purposefully looking for the joys through your senses might help you just to shift your focus, even for that minute, even for that hour, to something a little more positive. So for example, taste. Go to your favorite restaurant, order your favorite dish, and really just be present with that delicious taste. Smells. Smells can often trigger emotional responses. So find a smell from a time that maybe you were in a better state of mind, or maybe a smell that brings out about some joy to you. And, get some essential oils and really sit with that scent and really just be present with that scent. Sounds. Get some music from a different time in your life that brings about some happy memories, and really listen to those sounds. Touch. See if you can get a massage. If you have a partner, see if you can get a foot massage, a pedicure.
Even put on some fuzzy socks, or like your favorite sweater.
Your favorite sweater, exactly that. And then lastly, sight. Go outside, get some sun, get some vitamin D. That helps with depression. But also just learn, or just try to focus on, what is outside. Especially right now when it's spring, try to look at, are the trees blooming? Are there little buds on the trees? Are there flowers? Is there green grass? Are there birds? Are there kids playing? Just trying to find the joys by using your senses. And that will help to re-stimulate those senses. And it will help to, a lot of the times when you're experiencing depression, you might have a more negative filter. And not purposefully, not saying that someone who's experiencing depression purposefully looks for more negatives, but that just happens because you're in a sad, kind of low state. So purposefully looking for things that bring you joy will help to change that filter, even a little bit, which will help bring that sense of joy back into your life.
Do you have any recommendations for further reading, YouTube channels, anything else that subscribers might find helpful if they want to learn more about mindfulness and self-regulation?
Definitely. So we talked a lot about senses with mindfulness, and that is a way to bring yourself into the present moment, and that you can do that anywhere, right? You can do it any time of the day. You can do it anywhere. Another form of mindfulness practice is through more formal mindfulness meditations. And so you can YouTube mindfulness meditations, mindfulness of breath, mindfulness of sounds. And they don't have to be, an hour of meditating, 10 minutes of meditating. It could even be 1 minute. Even 1 minute a day will help you to focus on your breath that much more. There's also progressive muscle relaxations that you can do, which will help you to learn how to relax your body from head to toe. So there's many of those on YouTube.
We also have quite a few included in our grounding deck as well.
And then a few further readings. Did you put that book back?
I have it right here.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
One is The Mindful Way Through Depression.
Yeah.
And then there's also a workbook that is by the same author that goes along with the book. And there's another book called The Mindful Way Through Anxiety, and it's by Dr. Susan Orsillo. And it has a book like this that describes mindfulness and anxiety, but then also a workbook that goes along with it.
This one does come with a disc as well. I'm not sure if the anxiety one does.
Yeah.
Oh, it does as well?
Well, actually, even if you Google Mindful Way Through Anxiety, it will bring you to their website.
Oh, okay.
And you can access all of those mindfulness meditations on their website for free.
Perfect. That's great. Yeah. We also talked a little bit about apps. So there's the Headspace app that I really like. It's quite popular now. There's a program on it that's free, so it's like an intro into mindfulness. You can choose whether you want to do like 5, 10, or 15-minute sessions every day. It sends you reminders, and that's a really great one. If you want to continue with that app, it is paid, but there are a lot of really great programs. I did the anxiety one and I really enjoyed it. There's like one for depression, and then there's also ones for not related to mental illness. So like one for like athletes, creativity, different things like that.
There's also an app called Calm, so CALM, Calm. It's free to download, but then if you want, I think it only gives you access to a certain number of dialogues as well, and then if you want to access more, you have to pay for it. But there's still a good chunk that are free. There's a place that you can go on there to learn how to have that deep breath, and it actually walks you through, breathe in, hold for a few seconds, breathe out. There are meditations on there for anxiety, for self-esteem, for sleep, lots of different things on there.
Yeah. Another one that I'm thinking of now is there are even GIFs, like GIFs. Some people say GIF, but I say GIF. And they're just like images that you follow with your breath. So like whether it's some kind of circle that's expanding and then getting smaller, and you kind of just watch it and then breathe with it. And those can be really powerful. Yeah.
So one other thing that I wanted to add about mindfulness and depression especially, but also that would help with mindfulness and anxiety, is how it can teach you to become aware of your thoughts. And then by becoming aware of your thoughts and what kind of reaction your body is giving to those, you can then learn how it's affecting your body, affecting your mood, but then you can learn to just let that thought go and not own the thought. So a lot of the times, say for example, if you're experiencing depression and you have a thought of, I'm just not good enough, that person might think, my thought's saying I'm not good enough, that means I'm not good enough. And they might follow that belief with them. But through being mindful, you then learn that the thought doesn't have to be you. You don't have to own that thought. And in fact, you can just watch the thought just kind of float by like a cloud in the sky and let it go and realize that thought's not me.
Yeah. I really like the clear sky metaphor with mindfulness, where you start out cloudy, and then with mindfulness you can kind of clear those clouds away and see the blue sky underneath it. Another metaphor is watching traffic. So being in traffic, chasing cars like a puppy, versus like sitting beside the traffic and just watching it go by. If the cars are your thoughts, it's the difference between, like we had said before, the difference between engaging and judging versus just observing. Okay, so thank you so much for joining us and sharing your knowledge with us. And yeah, I really hope that all of these subscribers really like this box and find mindfulness really helpful.
Thanks for listening.